Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night Live stream. Hope y'all all had a great week. Big Al, I'm jealous. You're going to love that thing. Al's looking at a new cowboy pistol, saying that's going to be the stuff. Hope everybody had a good week. Hillbilly Up, what'd you do this week? Did you have fun, man? Sound like you've been working.
Yeah, man, I have fun plus working. Yeah, when you get these spring days, we've had rain, quite a bit here and there, but it's cloud cover. I mean, look at Pat, he's still working. And you got good weather, man, get her done. Don't procrastinate. Get it done because it's only going to get hot. And so trying to take advantage of all this that I can. Got to do some shooting too, so it's been a great week, buddy. So, Walter, what you been up to, brother?
Well, let's see here. I had a pretty good week my own self. I finally got that new Ruger RPR in 22 mag in the house and got that out and shot it yesterday for the first time. And so that was fun. It shot reasonably well for a brand new rifle. It was giving me, after I warmed up the barrel, it was giving me 3/4 inch groups out at 50 yards. So nothing spectacular, but it should get better. And we got a little bit of video put up on Rumble today. We got another Free the Few went out. I'm getting close to ending that one. I'm at the point now where I got to start casting bullets. Getting low. So, and we'll have a 45 ACP video out this coming Monday. And other than that, spending time with friends locally and scrounging through the gun shops looking for components that are going to be even scarcer before much longer. And so, it's kind of the way things are going here at Casa de Viejo. What's happening there right underneath me down there? Mr. Hotpot, what's up in Ohio?
Hey, thanks for having me on tonight. I am in Michigan outside of Flint to take my range officer's course for USPSA. Somebody's got some noise. Yep, that's it. I'm up here. Going to spend the weekend up here. Got class all day tomorrow and then range time on Sunday, learning range commands and rules and all the do's and don'ts and ins and outs of a sport I've been shooting, but now I'm on the other side of it. So it's, two sides of that coin, man. I want to know both sides of it now. Thanks for having me on. And we're going to go to old the Zinc Meister.
Howdy, everyone. Not much going on here. I have no loading to do or anything like that other than, I'm all loaded. I mean, I did that over the winter. So I'm just collecting more and more zinc. The MeWe people keep sending me stuff. So I'm now up to 6 5-gallon buckets of zinc. And, a lot of people getting tin. Was on the phone last night for a good hour with Sergeant Master Bulldog, and he's sending me a box. He's going to be sorting out weights, and he'll send me all the zinc, and he can use the tin, so that works out. And other than that, I still can't get to shoot my Rossi because it's going to rain again Sunday. And that's about it.
Well, we're glad you're here, buddy. That guy.
What's
going on, Pat?
I'll give y'all a quick peek out there in internet land. About that much. I am in my office still. At the back, planting food for America right now. So, my week's been extremely busy. Even though I did finally get that Panzer LPVO video out, so it's out there now finally. But yeah, my week's been pretty good, very productive. So other than that, man, I've just been busy. I apologize for the noise. My earbuds died on me and everything. So I just want to say thank you, Jamie, for having me on. Thanks to the panel. And yeah, what's Mark been up to?
Oh, it's been a busy week. It's been a good week. We had a rainy weekend last weekend, but Monday was beautiful. So I went ahead and skipped school. I went turkey hunting. Didn't see anything. I did get to hear some, and I took a wonderful nap. It was beautiful out there. We've had testing going on at school all week, so that's been keeping us busy. Seth had a spring concert on Wednesday night. I took video, but I haven't had time to post anything yet. He did a fantastic solo. He was actually a feature in one of the songs, and we were super proud of him. We've just been looking forward to this weekend, looking forward to Friday night. I guess going to do a little bit of airsoft tomorrow. Yeah, just been a great week. I didn't do any loading, didn't really do any leather work. I did pick up another flintlock muzzleloader just to add to the collection, and maybe we'll do something about that a little bit later just for fun. But just been looking forward to being here this evening. Thanks for having me. Great to see all of you. Great to see everybody over there in the side chat. So let's see what kind of trouble we get into this evening.
I would love to have a trail cam on Mark hunting, pointing at Mark. While he's sleeping, there's probably turkeys all around him.
Well, yeah, hillbilly, it looks just like this when I put turkeys all around me.
Well, there's turkeys all around you right now. Don't look, but
Yeah, no doubt about that.
I'm sorry,
How
I'm
about you,
tired.
Jamie?
Back on me again, huh?
It's on you, buddy.
Got a heck of a side chat out there, rocking and rolling.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
well, we already got 45 folks in here. Public service announcement. Our brother and dear friend CW is out doing his thing for his shooting club this evening, and he hopefully will be in later. But he also put in the comments out there a while ago so they hadn't had awards yet, so it's not looking real good. So there's that, and we had a thing that we were building toward tonight, but I didn't get it finished, and it's my bad. I wasn't able to get in touch with the folks that I needed to talk to. One of the things I'll just say, and I won't go into depth about that, but I will say this. Um, M. Gabriel's lurking out there, y'all. And I know Mike Hester probably knows a good bit about this because it happened in closer to his neck of the woods. But there's a lady in this happened at the end of April, and so we're 2 to 3 weeks out. But her name is Micah Miller, was Micah Miller, and she was the wife of a pastor of Solid Rock Church in uh, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and her husband's name is John Paul Miller. And I wish that y'all would go get and do a little research, watch a few videos of this lady and uh, what's going on with her. What's going on? What happened? Somebody leave?
No,
We lost somebody, didn't we?
Did we? Did we have 8, or did you just hit the button that rearranged everyone?
I think we just rearranged.
That may have put us in shorter deals.
Well, so y'all like that view better? We want to. Is that better?
I may
No.
have done
6 to 1, half dozen the other.
I like that better than that because, well, maybe that's better. We can see everybody's faces better. So let's go with that.
Pat's going to kiss his phone.
But I like Andy in the middle, so I like Andy
All right.
to anchor us down to reality.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, when we were talking last week, we talked about uh, how we base our purchasing decisions on our firearms. But yeah, y'all check out. I was building toward a topic that probably doesn't need to be talked about anyway. Uh, at least on this show, because we try to stay away from politics. And while this is not political, it's a legitimate Second Amendment gun guy thing that we need to keep in mind. But one of the things I wanted to talk about that uh, the mood that we have when we go buy a gun. I think when we buy anything that we've been looking forward to, I think it needs to be a happy and a joyous occasion. But there's people in this world that uh, then you know what I'm talking about, old soldier. Uh, there's people in this world that yeah, it's just that's probably more than I should have said. But yeah, y'all go check out Micah Miller and John Paul Miller and Mike Hester. Uh, this is the way guys that own gun shops will do you. They're going to hold out and lowball you when you're trying to sell them a gun. Uh, I was talking to my local gun guy, uh, Mike, and I was talking about a trade. He had a double barrel 16 gauge that I really wanted, and it was immaculate. It was beautiful. And I was thinking about either selling or trading my Ruger M77 chambered in 30-06 and buying that gun or trading with him. And then I did some research and I found out that M77's worth about $400 more than what he had on the what he had on the price tag of that double barrel shotgun. So, and the first thing he said when I mentioned that, he says, "Well, if you look around," he said, "I'm gonna forewarn you before you bring it in here that if you look around, we got a lot of guns in here." I'm like, "Well, you're a gun store. You're supposed to have a lot of guns." And so yeah, that's where I'm at. It's and they do have to. Guys like Mike and my buddy Greg that runs the local gun store, they buy and sell guns to make a living. So you know, it's a side thing for us where we want the best deal we can get. But when it comes to doing stuff like that, you're better off selling your gun and then taking that money and go buying. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I kind of agree because I have one of those M77s, and I was toying with unloading it a few years ago, and I walked into my local gun shop, and he offered me less than I paid for it, and I said, "No, thank you."
Yeah, Mike. Paul Loud agrees with me. And Walks Fletcher is always right. See, the thing about the M77, and Andy, me and you both need to think about that, is they're not making them like that anymore.
Of
No,
course not.
not at all.
You know, they don't make anything like they used to. So I mean, you know, that's an important factor when you're moving a firearm. You know, you're looking to get rid of something like that. The consideration, the gun store doesn't want to give you that consideration. They just want it in the store. Come back 2 weeks later and see what the price they're selling it for. So that's you know, I said that I'll keep it. Thank you.
Right. Big Al, we all got that problem. You can't make yourself sell a gun. Because, you know, when we buy them, we don't buy them to turn them around and sell them. You know? Right,
Well,
guys?
I mean, if you think about it, just like the car market, if if you have your vehicle and you want to upgrade your vehicle, you're always better off doing a private sale with your vehicle than taking that cash and using an advantage of going and purchasing another vehicle. So that's always, in my opinion, that's always the best deal. Because if I don't get a good deal, I just don't buy it, car or whatever, That's just how I kind of roll. But, it's always going to be the best deal.
It also depends on the area you live and how many people are looking for cars, and you have something they're looking for. And, the deal is always going to sell it for more and give you less. He's got to make his money. So same thing with a gun or anything. But still, when you got something that's worth $1,500 and he's offering you $400, that's not a bad deal.
Right.
Yeah.
You're better off, putting it up on your local or on one of your forums where you know that there's folks that are in your area that might be interested in it. And if I buy a used gun, I don't want to do it from a distance. I'll buy a used gun if I can put my hands on it. And so there's we've got a California forum that's got a for sale section and a wanted section, and I'll look through there. And if there's somebody reasonably local where I can actually go look at the firearm, then I'll consider it. But
yeah. And even if you're, trading something in locally, that person's got to turn around and sell it to your same community. So regardless of what it's worth in another state, it don't matter because, you're, selling it, if you're even traded in a vehicle that somebody else says, I'm using the word vehicle for a reason, but they have to turn around and sell it in that same community more than likely, So your private sales most usually going to be your best result, in my opinion, or at least what I've found out over the years.
Agreed.
How you doing, hi boy?
Hey, hi boy.
Yeah, the only way I trade a gun in is if I'm willing to take the hit on it. And like I've traded a few in the local shops where I'm friends with the owners, and that's where they make their money is on used guns, on the trade-ins. That's where they actually make good money from. So if
Right.
it's something I'm really not concerned about, I'll take it to a local shop and trade it in to help them out make some more money. If I'm willing to take the hit on it. But I've went through so many, there's only a few that I've actually kept. And I just won't get rid of, but most of mine are expendable.
There's another thought.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a gun off of not Gun Broker, but Guns America, and I bought one off of Bud's Gun Shop too. I thought were good deals. Um, so CW sending me text. He's hoping to win a pistol and a rifle. So yeah,
Oh
baby,
boy.
that's always fun. So Mark, you got any thoughts on buy, sell, trade kind of thing? Maybe not.
Hey, Mark.
He must have went to go pee.
Yeah,
He's turkey hunting.
he's turkey hunting. Paul Loud, the gun that I bought off of Guns America was actually a listing for a Cabela's in Maine, and they shipped it from Maine to my local store in Ackworth, Georgia. And I went down there and closed the deal. Of course, I'd already paid them, so all I had to do is go do the form, show my carry license, and that kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, and as time goes on, I'm learning more and more about that particular gun, and it's pretty special.
Jamie, did your M77 need to have a trigger repair, or is it the newer one, the better version in it?
Mine was built in 1988.
Oh, okay. Mine is like 1977.
Yeah. So you had to have trigger work done on yours?
Oh, I think I just beat it because I've never had a problem with it.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know there was an issue. I know there was an issue with Remington 700s, but
Yeah, I thought the M77 had a trigger issue as well. Something about I'm trying to remember what it was now. So the memory ain't what it used to be. So
I think I've not. I don't know uh, if there is an issue with the 77s. I haven't heard about it. But one of the things that I really like about that gun, Andy, is the control feed. And for the average guy shooting off a bench, that's not a big deal. But when you're climbing up and down uh, tree stands and ladder stands, deer hunting, that can be pretty uh, pretty important. I really like controlled feed. It's a very Mauser type action, wouldn't you think?
yeah, that's it. That's it. It is a Mauser action.
Yeah.
It's that was part of the intrigue when I bought it.
So you bought it new in '77?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
I love mine. And I've got rounds through it. So I mean, I don't have full power loads through it. I got my zinc stuff through it, but I got to have. I shoot about 800 to 1,000 rounds through it every year.
Yeah, mine's not been shot that much, but it's all full power deer hunting loads.
Yeah.
Stronger.
No, I'm out there. The guys come, when they see it, everybody looks at it because it's an older gun and whatnot, and and they're all intrigued about my zinc. And then when I load it up and pull the trigger, they go, "That was a 30-06," and I go, "No, hold on a second. And I'll load a full power one. That's 30-06."
Yeah. And the full power bolt guns, they're stronger than what you buy for the M1 Garand
Yep.
or Garand. They're full power.
Yeah, no, there's no question about loading those things up. You can have some crazy lows in that thing. I mean, when I was younger, shooting at my parents' house upstate, 1,700 feet, and I used to shoot beer cans, so that was fun.
That's fun, but that's a strong round.
Yeah, well, but it was a worked up load, and it was a lighter bullet, that kind of thing. It wasn't 180 or 220. It was, like 150s or whatever they were, and they just would, work up a load that worked, and like 17, that's like shooting where you guys go, the Dead Zero. It's like, nice. It was fun.
It's fun. You should come down and meet us sometimes.
Yeah, well, I don't really travel, so I mean, if it's something I keep saying is I'd love to meet a couple of people, but I just really don't. I'm not a traveler. Never really was. The most I ever travels is when I was doing the circuit with the race car. So, I mean, every year Sandusky, Ohio. So long run, 13 hours plus towing a trailer.
Oof. Yeah, that's a tough deal. So, Mark, what you got anything about trading, buying, selling, trading?
Yeah, been doing a lot of it. I generally deal with 2 or 3 of my local shops, and I've gotten to know them really well. So it's kind of a give and take. There are some times that they might give me a little bit more for stuff that I'm trading or selling, and there's times that they might not give me quite as much, but we end up making up for it. It all kind of comes out in the wash, and they also know my tastes. So when there's something that they know I'm going to like, they might hold on to it in the back for a day or two until I come in and give me first dibs on it. So they, may not always be perfect price or the lowest price, but like I say, it kind of all comes out in the wash.
That right there is a lot right there. Holding something for you they think you'll like.
Yeah. Or I've gotten phone calls or texts. Hey, this just came in. You want me to hold on to it for you? Yeah, hold on to it.
Yeah, that's real nice to have.
Yeah, the one shop is very close, and I spend a lot of time there. It's just down the road from where I dropped Seth off for his Taekwondo class where he's teaching. And I told him, I'm hanging out here enough. Maybe you ought to start paying me. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill out an application, and I think I'm gonna start filling in a few hours there over the summer whenever they need. I don't make a career of it, but I'll certainly accept an employee discount.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think I told y'all the story about finally acquiring my Marlin 44 Magnum. He called me, and I'd been getting so many of these calls from spam calls that I just sent him straight to voicemail when he called. I usually never do that to any local number, but I'm getting between, well, I was getting between 10 and 24 calls a day from spam callers.
That's miserable. This should be against the law.
It
It
is.
should be.
It is against the law, but it's not enforced.
Right. So I just happened to go in there the next morning. I was off the next morning. I was going to get some 9mm ammo, and he said, "Man, I tried to call you yesterday. I got this rifle in. You said you wanted." And I said, "What kind of money you wanting for it?" And he told me, and I said, "Well, write it up. Let's do this." And I did, and we did, and it's right there. I would love to show it to you, but we can't do that. But it's the Ruger made Marlin, Andy. I think you'd like it. It's in 44 Magnum.
Yeah, I've entered a few raffles at my local store whenever they put one of those up, and I never had the luck. But yeah, that's it was always a thought to buy that. And when I bought the Rossi, I was deciding which way to go, and I decided, a 44. Now I got to get new molds. I got to get brass. I got to get dies. I said, I got 357. Let's stay with that.
I love 357, but man, I'm really liking the 44s.
Yeah, well, you
Good
brought
caliber.
up cost
Hope
of
they are.
loading in comments tonight. Cost of reloading, and I can load. Let's see, 100, 150 grain, 160 grain bullet. Right, versus 220 grain bullet. Big difference in the cost. They can shoot a lot more. Less powder, you know.
Yeah, and we're fixing to get into that. Christian Grass love him some 44. I'm telling you, man, I love 44. All right, so it's time for us to actually a little past time for us to run through the side chat. We'll get through that real quick, and then we will uh, um, we'll get into our topic about breaking down the cost of uh, reloading versus buying factory. So, Walter, what are we going to type in here?
Was pulling a hillbilly. Sorry. We talked about the M77 quite a bit, and that's easy to type. So let's do that. M77
All
is
right,
like that.
we'll call your name out on TV. So let's do this. And Walter's in there first, and bang, they're off the page.
It didn't take long. Holy cow.
I'm so glad I got a mouse. So we got Walters in the panel and on the side in the side chat on the panel. We got Bama Dad out there. We got Mike Hester's out there. There's 76 High Boy Reloading. Good to see you, Jim. There's Big Al. Tommy Boy's out there. Alaska One Andy. Colt 1927. Reloader 762. Abigail Finnegan's out there. Andre D'Angelo. Tactical Fudd, my brother. Fluffy 10mm Jeep Guy. Christian Grest. Kyle. GGW Outdoors. Rich White. Mark Thomas is also on the panel and in the side chat, as well as Andy79Z28. It's good to have him with us tonight. There's Trees A Blowing, Walks Fletcher, Mike Hester, James Pollard. What's up, Mr. Pollard? Six Shooter Texans out there, Fluffy 10mm Jeep Guy again, Ron 2A Matters, Paul Loud, Hillbilly Up, Dwayne 7834, Rollis Carvelis, MacMan 039 Reloading, and Abigail Finnegan again. Tactical Rabbit 308. There's my brother Harm. M. Gabriel. There's Mr. Bob. Floyd Hicks. James Pugh. Thoughts of an Old Soldier. And Hobby's Hobo is out there. And Jason Stewart, who just sent me a text picture of a Colt 1911. And I am smitten. That blue's like that blue on those Colts. I mean, it's like a Smith and Wesson. It looks like you could just stick your hand down in there. And there's our brother from another mother, Mr. New Texarkana from out Texas way. And he's a teacher as well. And him and Mark Thomas are about to get into that summertime schedule where
Yeah, but his is permanent.
Yeah.
this time it is. It is. So,
Lucky fella.
okay. So, Mark, tell me if I'm messing up, and Andy as well. And I know Walter's been working on this since before we got on the air. All right, I did some figuring this week while I was at work because some of the guys were over there in my shop and asking me about it. So I figured that if you take a pound of powder, which is 7,000 grains, and you pay $50 a pound for that, and I went on an average because sometimes you can get it cheaper. Some powders are going to be less. Some are going to be more. New Texarkana sent us a picture of IMR 48.95, or was it 41.98? I can't remember, but it was $66 a pound. So I figure 50 is a good average. So at $50 a pound for powder and 7,000 pounds of 7,000 grains of powder in 1 pound, you're looking at 0.007 cents. It's like 7/10 of a penny for each grain of powder. Am I correct on that? That don't even sound right.
No, that's about right. So
And
a 4 grain charge is going to be around 3 cents, a little less, something like that.
yeah, I was going on 9 millimeter, so I'm figuring 5 grains of power pistol. That's 3.5 cents. So you got 3.5 cents. We're talking 9 millimeter right now. So
I saw that, Rigby. Hey,
I
little
do
girl.
ask, can I borrow some glitter to get my slime pretty? Papa's mama said
Sweetie,
I
you
could.
just get whatever you need.
I need at least glitter.
I don't have any glitter, so
I bet he's got some.
I don't.
I got glue. Will that help? Pass it right on over.
Yeah. We definitely
Didn't-
have glue and
Don't find
glitter
glitter.
here.
I bet
Yeah.
your mom's got some.
Mom
Didn't Willie-
don't have any glitter. I know her.
Well,
I know my mama.
Didn't Willie hide any glitter up there on your loading shelf, Jamie?
She only has one shelf. What are you talking about?
probably, Mark, but don't tell her. We'll be here all night. All right, so we got
Sometimes you get in trouble when you come home with glitter.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, there's Kyle Lusk.
yeah, so we're figuring 3.5 cents just for powder, and primers are no longer 3.5 cents. They're more like 8 cents, 7 or 8 cents a piece. So now we're up to 12 cents. If you buy bulk, I used some bulk bullets just for pricing from American Reloading, and I forget exactly what they were. But by the time I finished, if assuming you're not counting anything for your press, for your brass, or for your dies, uh, if you bought their bullets, their powder, and their primers from American Reloading, you'd have 21.5 cents in one 9 millimeter cartridge.
Well,
Now,
everything is dependent on what you pay for your materials. So powder's on the rise again. So
Yes,
that
sir.
price is going up. Primers are going to go up again. It's not going to settle down. It's going to go up again. So you're back to 10 cents at least for a primer. All right. But myself, I have so much powder, it's ridiculous. And the powder I'm using on most of my reloads is that Winchester powder I bought for $1 a pound. So it really depends on what you pay for things. I'm still shooting primers that cost me less than 3 cents a piece. So,
Right.
So it really depends on your stockpile, what you've paid for things. And, and then I don't buy bullets. Okay. I cast my own, and I'm casting, whether you cast lead or zinc, I'm paying, if you're buying the material, I'm paying 30 cents a pound for lead, and the zinc, my deals with zinc, I'm paying less than that. So my cost of load in 9 millimeter is still like 10, 12 cents, not even.
Right. But if we look at it from somebody who's looking to get started at it,
that in too. So
Yeah.
I think you're talking about just going out and buying it right now, right, James?
Yeah, if you go out and buy it right now, it's still more than 21 cents.
Yeah, if you bought 1,000 rounds of 9 millimeter from American Reloading at $249.99 for 1,000, and they are the example because they include shipping and hazmat in their prices. So you're looking at 25 cents a round buying 1,000 rounds. So The thing is, when you get over the hump, as far as reloading is concerned, it's casting your own bullets.
Yeah, well, you have, casting, of course, is going to save you a lot of money price on the bullet head. And of course, I mean, if you have powder that you've had for a while, so that changes your cost compared to today's stuff. Is somebody getting into reloading today? The initial setup, even if you bought a single stage press and dies and all the little things you need to go along with it, if you really think about the clean your brass, the deep, you prime your brass, and okay, all those variables. I don't count my hardware. Okay, it's like if you have an upfront fee, and that's once.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you take a penny of that cost in every round you load, how many rounds does it take before the press becomes paid for? So it really depends on how much you're shooting as well. I mean, if you're shooting in matches and stuff, you're shooting a lot more. So your cost, your price of your press gets paid for real quick. If you're only going out shooting 50 rounds once every 2 weeks or something, well, then your cost is up. So
if you're shooting competitively, you need a lot more expensive press, though, too. So it takes a while longer. You need a progressive press.
But you don't have to buy a Dillon. There's others that work. So, I mean, even if you didn't buy progressive, even if you bought a manual turret, it's still quicker. So it's really, up to the person. If your pocketbook is deep enough to go out and buy what you want in a press, then the cost factor is not there for you, really. Because you're doing something you enjoy. It's a hobby. Okay, any hobby requires the tools of the hobby. So if you start low, you're always going to be adding till you get what you want. So that cost factor changes too. So if you go out and spend $1,000 for your press day one, you're never going to really have to spend much more money on something else unless you want something just to deprime. But then there's the APP for that. Where you can process brass fast. For $130, whatever it is right now. So everything depends on what your need is. But yeah, if you sit back and say it cost me 21 cents a round to load, if I bought today's prices, that's correct. But the satisfaction of doing it yourself and making something, that's worth something too.
That's worth everything.
Yeah.
That's everything. And as much as I shoot, all of my reloading equipment it's paid for.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like I said before, I shoot 1,000 rounds of 30-06 every year. Okay, I shoot 3,000 300 blackout a year. So I mean, and then never mind 9mm, and 223. So, but I sit back, and that's my winter hobby. I don't process my brass during the season. It's all loaded and ready to go. So at the end of the season, I pick a caliber, and I do that until I loaded everything back up for next year. Then I go to the next caliber and the next caliber. And that's my relaxing time. I come home from work. I don't spend 4 hours downstairs reloading. I go down for 2 hours.
I think I've got, with me casting bullets now, and I've now been getting the lead from work, range scrap. And that zinc comes in real handy. And so that tin, man, that tin comes in nice and handy with that range.
Yeah, well, again, I have no problem in getting your tin. So you guys go out and look, don't go out and buy tin. Okay, make it that simple. I mean, it cost me $8 change to ship it. So send me, you do a PayPal for $10, and I'll ship you a box of 10 pounds of it. It's if you want to trade zinc, I'm happy. That type of thing. You spend a few bucks to ship it. I spend a few bucks to ship it to you. That's all.
I got to go pick up some wheel weights next week. I'm going to get it separated out and send you the zinc out of it.
Yeah, I
But with me
appreciate that.
casting my bullets, I think I've got with the primer and powder. Now I work at a reloading supply, so I get a little discount. But I've got 9 to 10 cents per round of 9 millimeter.
Yeah, that's, I mean, because you're casting your own. That's the
Yeah.
big, that's part of the big price change. Casting your own. I mean, whether I'm doing zinc, but lead is same thing. I mean, I stopped at the local scrapyard that I deal with, and I apologized to him not coming in. I says, I've just been so busy with things, and I just kind of like, he says, well, I got 2 more 55-gallon drums back there, so help yourself anytime you're ready. So, and I don't want the lead anymore, though. That's the problem. So it's like, I'm scooping it out, and whatever I get, I get. But the lead, I'm still going to collect it and melt it down. But what am I going to do with it? I melt it down for space reasons. Other than that, I don't need to melt it because I don't use it. So it's, but again, it really depends on what you're paying for things. So, it's, I mean, I got primers where I paid, $100 for 1,000. Okay. But I also have a bunch that I paid like $25 for 1,000. So, so it's, I just keep, the only thing and I don't want to call it low, but the only thing I'm low on is large rifle because I'm not spending $120. I'll shoot less of the 30-06. I mean, I have about 5,000 primers left, so I mean, I'm good for another few years. But I don't know how much more. I'm 71 years old now, so I have birthday May 11th. So it's I'm out there. How much longer am I going to be shooting? I don't know. I mean,
well, I seen G-Webs ask if do you guys like factor in your time? Is your
time is a
time worth
hobby.
anything?
You can't factor your time. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
You get pleasure from it. It's not, if it's a chore, then it's not a hobby.
If you were to take into account if you had another line of work that reloading would take you away from, then your time could be counted. But for most folks, whether you're working or retired or whatever, it's something that you do in the evenings or on the weekends or something in your what we'll call free time. And there's a reason we call it free time. you wouldn't be earning any money during that time anyway. So I don't count my time.
So 9mm is a nice baseline to make a price on, but one of the reasons that I started reloading was because some of the stuff that I shoot is hard to find. I mean, 9mm everywhere now.
Yeah.
But I was just showing my son this evening at the shop we were at a box of 32 Smith & Wesson long, which isn't a potent round. It's not something anybody's, expected to go out and use for concealed carry, but it's something I like to shoot. I can load a box of 50. I can load up 100 32 Smith & Wesson long with any projectile I choose, round nose, wad cutters, whatever. And I can't imagine it's costing me more than a couple of cents a round. The box of 32 Smith & Wesson long was $45 a piece.
Yeah, well, that's
Wow.
it. Sir,
I mean, that's nearly
almost a buck a round.
But if you go out there and even buy 38 wad cutters, go look at the price of that for target.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then, like Walter and I and CW, 41 Magnum, try to find it.
Yeah.
And I can load that for, it's not completely free, but loading with range scrap lead, powder coated myself, the primers are going to cost me more than the powder. Although Gene spooked me and I went out and bought another pound of Unique just in case. I'm going to put that one away on the back shelf and forget about it for a year or so.
I read the email.
Yep. I mean, 45 Colt, if I want to shoot that as much as I want to shoot, I'm going to be paying through the nose. But if I'm reloading, it's no problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's even at my range, when I go to the range, there's maybe a handful of guys that I've met so far that reload, and most of them don't shoot a lot. I mean, I'll come maybe, 9mm, maybe shoot 100 rounds, and that they're done. That's enough. Okay. I shoot a lot when I'm there all day, and when I go to the range, and I'm having fun. I'm getting immense pleasure from it. Always working on my consistency and accuracy, and to me, that's my fun spot. It's like when I used to race my car. Every time I went to the track, I got to beat my best. Something. Make sure everything is better than normal. Or how I react with the car. It's like when I go out there and you're looking for the cool of day, and it's like, man, I'm running 1149s, and it's like you go out there and it's like you got good air. The air density is good. The pressure is 29 to 30. You're out there. It's like, this is going to be a day, and you got to make it your business to do your best. And all of a sudden, I ran 1147 instead of a 49, and it was like, yeah, Gene,
Yeah.
that little tiny bit. It ain't much, but it's a lot when you're consistently running a certain speed and time, and you get that day, and you can beat that time, and it's like, and you do it. It's like it's a whole new victory. And then you go home and you tweak and you play and you have fun and you wait for that next real good day, and you go out there again and you beat that even by just a tenth. Yeah, it's big. I remember when I knew my car was capable of running, let's say 11.3s in that area on the quarter, on motor. It was capable, and I kept playing and tweaking and doing and playing and tweaking. The motor's never been apart. 980 runs on it, only on gas, no nitrous at that point. Okay, and all I did was take the Cal induction hood that was fully functional, and I decided to put a forward-facing scoop on it, and put a tube on top of the carburetor that went into that scoop, and I went from 11.7s to 11.4s.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big jump, and it was just air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the track, every thousandth of a second makes a big difference.
So it's the same thing with reloading.
Mm-hmm.
You work up that load. It's like all the trouble I'm having with my Ruger PC. Okay, in 9mm, I went back to Ruger, everything else. I'm still not happy with the way it's shooting. So over the winter, I sat down and I played and I looked for things. What could be, and I decided my eye relief was too far away, and I moved the scope around so I get a better sight picture. I made sure everything is, torqued right and whatnot, and and now I can't wait to go out and shoot it and see where I'm at. But I have still a bunch of bullets left over from my normal load, but now I worked up a whole new ladder load. It's for the bullets I use, and maybe I just got to rework that load. That's all. And 1/10 of a grain more or less could make all the difference in the world. So that's the fun of reloading. That's what I think most of us that do the reloading. We're trying to find that accurate, load. And once you find it, you stick with it. Then you buy a new can of powder and it changes, and you got to work it up again.
Yeah. And I think the reason I said something about that time is I don't have no extra time, and I would literally pay money for extra time, and so that's for everybody. It's not always that you have an hour or two extra sometimes, and it's kind of tough for some people. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you have a lifestyle that you live, and if you want to squeeze something else into that lifestyle, you got to give it what you possibly can without interrupting with everything else.
Yeah. The only thing I can cut out would be YouTube.
Well, that's
I mean, where am I?
I'm sitting back and I come in here and I go, man, there's like so many people put videos out the last 2 days. I haven't seen any of them. So now I got to go through. That one don't get me. Keep going, keep going. All right. I waste a lot of time watching YouTube videos. So now I'm narrowing it down quicker to what I'm gonna when I pop somebody's video. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Okay, it's just everything is time consuming in life. Every hobby has its time requirements to make it work. You know, if I start a race on my car again, something's got to go.
Yep.
You know, so right now I'm toying with selling the car, so I just can't. You know, don't have an avenue to sell it so much because I'm not going to the track anymore. Well, we don't have a local track anymore, so that's part of the problem. The local kids here are all into Mustangs and race burners, so it's like, okay, they're not going to give me the money for the car because that's not what they're looking for. So you got to find the right person. That's all.
Andy, just for fun, I was talking with a couple of people last weekend about my first car. It was a cheap 4-cylinder Datsun B210 hatchback. Mm-hmm. And I went and looked on Marketplace just to see if I could find a picture so I could show them. The car that I learned to drive on, the car that I took my license test in, was that Datsun. My parents paid $50 for it for my cousin. There's one local to me. It's like 10 miles away. They want $9,500 for it.
Yeah, because of the car.
Yeah.
You know,
they used to be cheap, nothing, thousands of them running around the roads and everybody crashed them, smashed them.
Yeah.
They got used up. Now there's only a handful of them left. And good God, $9,500 for that piece of crap.
The problem with a race car is the only thing that's money to anybody is when you got to build it from scratch because your roll cages, your suspension, buying all the equipment you need new. All right. So just the parts in my car, never mind the work to do it, the parts, the roll cage is $12,000. The roll cage that's in my car is $12,000 to get it installed, just the roll cage. Yeah. You got to buy the car. So what is that going to cost you? My car was a low mileage car when I bought it. The guy that built the car, he got the car from his father with 32,000 miles on it. It was taken off the road. And it was built to be a race car. The guy was running 780s with it. All right. So I've got a chassis that'll run 780s, but I'm only running now high 10s, 1090s. And to sell that car, the rear end, the rear end that I have in it, just the with the axles and stuff, okay, the spool, everything that's in the car, it's $15,000. It's professional level racing equipment in there. So between the roll cage and the rear end, the car's worth $28,000. I'm lucky if I get 20. Rolling and running and proving, and the bugs worked out of it, and that kind of thing. So it's like, it's just the way it is. And race cars is the best example of put $100,000 in a car. You're lucky if you get 30 for it when you try to sell it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with reloading. The guns wise, we get more money usually, but the cost of reloading over the years has increased because of the prices increased.
Thanks for saying that, Andy. And that leads to Mr. Bob's comment that I wanted to address. I'd go broke setting up the reload. I shoot 6 straight wall calibers and 4 rifle calibers. Between the various powder types and die sets, it would cost a pretty penny. Yes, it would, but it's like everything else. You can start with Lee dies. You can start with a less expensive press and work up as time goes on and as time goes by. But what I'm telling you is now I need to qualify this by saying that reloading is not for everybody. If you don't have a certain amount of a mechanical aptitude, then you need not to do it because you're liable to hurt yourself or blow up your gun or something like that. But the price of reloading is just like everything else that's going on this day and time, and that is everything's getting more and more and more expensive every day. So, Mr. Bob, if you want to keep shooting those and save money doing it, yeah, it's going to cost you some money up front. But it's like what Andy's been talking about here with cars or with reloading or any other thing, any other hobby that you get into, you're going to you're going to it's just going to get more and more and more expensive. And like one of the other guys said, uh, there's some calibers. I think Mark and Walter as well. When you there's uh, some calibers, and James Pugh mentioned 35 Remington. And I've told y'all a story. That's one of the reasons I got into reloading, paying $34 for a box of 20 rounds for that back in 2012, 2010. So, yeah, man, there's calibers out there and cartridges out there now that you just cannot buy. And if you, what we haven't pointed out that needs to be pointed out is that every day that goes by, reloading equipment, reloading components are getting more and more expensive. But then again, so is factory ammunition. If our components are going up, theirs will too.
Oh yeah, well, they're not they're buying powder in crazy bulk, but they're with what's going on with the chemicals and stuff. They got no choice. They want to make bullets. They got to pay the price. So naturally, they pay more. We got to pay more in the end. So
yeah,
And you really don't have to go broke from the start. You can build it up over time. I've been at this now about 2.5 years, and I've built up to over a dozen calibers in that time, and built up to a couple of presses. Just picking up powder when I can, primers when I find them that are reasonable price. So it's not like you have to lay out several $1,000s at one time. You can just pinch away at it for 50, 60 bucks. Yeah.
that's it. You got to figure out. You buy a good single stage press, and I don't mean cheap. I don't want to put lead down because I have a ton of lead product, but you buy like a rock chucker, and you spend that $250 or so for the press. It's going to load anything you're going to throw at it, except maybe 50 BMG or something. All right, but you'd be surprised. Okay, it's just you will save money, and again, if you're shooting 50 to 100 rounds every 3 weeks or so, the single stage press is going to work. Okay, if you're shooting 300 rounds every other week, now you need a little more than that. So now you got to go to even a turret would be faster. Okay, to me, a manual turret is the way to go, but you can go up to a Lead Pro 4000. It's a 4-stage press, and it's under $200, and you can pound 9mm and 357 all day long with that. I mean, without trying, I'm doing, taking my time. I'm still loading 100 rounds an hour. So if I spend 2 hours, it's 200 rounds. And if I want to go fast, I can do 200 in an hour. But I don't like to load that way. It's like now it's work. It's not pleasure.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, got to be relaxing.
And we still haven't mentioned the fact that what you do in your bench, on your bench in your reloading room, is infinitely better than and more consistent by far than what you're going to buy in a box.
Yep.
It's that time. Are you ready, Mr. Gene?
Yes, sir.
It's time for What's Hot Pot Got?
I love the way you say that. Well, tonight I brought in something. I don't know if I've showed this before or not, but this came through the machine, and I thought it was really interesting. Hopefully this will focus in here. This is a Remington 2520. It's a little bitty neck down rifle cartridge. Had a few of these pop through the other day while we were doing a rough sort. So I snatched onto them and I got a little bit of info on it. This is the 2520, developed around 1895 for the Winchester 1892 lever action rifle. It's based on necking down the 3230. The average FPS for one of these with an 86 grain bullet is 1460. It was designed in 1892, produced from 1895 to present day. And I also learned something else about this. Actually, Marlin made it first, the 2520. And then Winchester kind of copied what they were doing. So Marlin was the first in this, and then Winchester put their nose in it. So this is actually a 2520 Marlin for starters. I thought that was a nice, cute little cartridge.
Yeah, it's part of a family. Mr. Bob
Yeah.
brought up the 3220, the 2520, and there may have been some more as well.
Yeah, this is just based on necking down the 3230 down to a 2530.
It'd be a 257 diameter projectile.
Yeah, it's kind of beat up a little bit, but you know, little pieces of history like this come through the machine, and I enjoy sharing them with everybody. That is what Hotpot's got.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that one. It just reminds me of a 30-30, you know.
Yeah.
You look at it, that's all. It's except
what I read on it was like, you know, it was almost kind of like a little funny piece on it saying, well, that's just a baby mini 30-30. You know, it's the baby. It's not meant for, it's only meant for like small game, rodents, things of that nature. There have been stories about these actually taking a deer, but I don't think that'd be very ethical.
Well, you got a good shot, it's good, but other than that, no.
It'd have to be a real good shot at a close range.
Yeah.
You know, there's stories out there of a guy who killed a big deer with one of these, but I think I would stick to just using it on the farm for rodents and small game.
Well, back in the day, that was what was there.
Yeah.
So it's it became when you lived on the farm and meat was out in the field, you took what you had and that was it. Anyway, before we get rolling, I got to roll, guys. I got to get up early tomorrow. Got a lot of things to take care of. So everybody have a great weekend if I don't see you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Be safe.
Thanks for being here, Andy. We appreciate you, brother.
Night, Andy.
Nah, buddy.
So yeah, Tommy Boy says it had the world record deer for a very long time, shot with a 25-20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read about that.
Which goes to show you don't have to have a 30-06 with a 180 grain bullet running at 2,900 feet per second. You just got to put that bullet where it's going to land home.
Very true. But the 30-06 is really nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There ain't no tracking. You just back the truck up. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get off here too, guys. I'm a little hungry. I'm gonna find me something to eat. I had a bowl of chili after I got off work, but I'm starting to get the hungries again. I had some Belvitas, but they didn't cure it.
Time for a Wendy's, huh?
Yeah, it's time for something else. There's a couple little fast food joints around here, so I'm gonna go bug around and see if I can just get me another sandwich or something.
Well, man, enjoy your class. Learn lots of good stuff. Go back to Ohio and put it to good use. And thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you very much, sir. And I'm not going to become a range Nazi. Got to keep things real. Well, everybody have a great night. Have a blessed weekend. I didn't get to see any of you because I'm on my phone and the side chat is not available with the phones thing. So hope everybody in the side chat has a great, blessed weekend. And always remember to keep blowing that smoke.
Yeehaw.
Night, Gene.
Good night, Gene.
Night, everybody.
Night, Gene.
Far out. So he's getting some good training. That's going to be awesome. And we always appreciate what's Hotpot got. Walter had to step away for a minute or two, but when he gets back, we'll talk more about the cost of reloading versus factory ammo, because I know he was doing some work with the cost of the equipment, I believe. So
Yeah, and real quick, Jamie, did you catch that? I think it was last week or week before, maybe week before. MacMan was going through that program that he uses to where you can figure in all cost. Even though like you buy a new primer or powder that costs more, as you click on it and all that, it will let you know how much you have per round. And I thought that was really a neat setup for reloaders.
yeah, but
Free program.
it's a free program.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was fixing to say. Reloaders by nature don't like to spend money. So
Yeah. Did anybody watch that? You remember the name of it? But yeah, it had been out for quite a long time. And I think the guy that there it is, Reloaders Workshop, I believe. The guy that did it, I don't know if he passed away, retired, or whatever. But from what I was watching on that program, it is absolutely free.
what are you talking about, Rebel? If you bought a Winchester short magnum, you're in a tough spot. If you bought a super short magnum, you're really screwed. Patriot Paul says Reloaders Workshop is a piece of program that helps you track all your ammo and supplies.
Yeah, when MacMan was showing it that night, it looked like a great setup. I mean, I don't know any others. That's the only one I've ever seen. But he could go in and say, well, if I use this powder, it's going to cost me this much. I paid this X amount for, or if I use this powder or primers I already have, it's going to cost me this much.
Oh, they're not making brass anymore for the super short magnums.
Wow.
That would be an issue. Of course, some of us can manufacture can convert some brass for out of something different. So yeah, Walter, did you do some work about the cost of the equipment?
I did when we were talking earlier before the show about cost of reloading. I took it a little bit different direction, but actually came up with some of the same kinds of numbers you did, Jamie. That comes, for 9mm. I was looking around town the last couple of days at ammo, and best price of 9mm I saw was $15 a box. So that's 30 cents a round, and it's gonna, I looked at the cost to reload 9mm too, just like you did, and I used a cast high-tech coated bullet that runs about 8 cents or so, and instead of a jacketed bullet. I mean, it comes out to about 20 cents is what it can, even using, about the same amount of powder you use. I came up with around 20 cents to hand load a 9mm round. And at 30 cents a round for factory, you save a dime a round. Well, you're saving a little bit, but it was brought up before that if you're looking to get into reloading to save money, you can, particularly on the bigger calibers. But that's not the only reason we do it. And as Jamie was saying earlier, that no matter what we're reloading, we're going to do a better job than you can with factory ammo, particularly for your particular firearm. Heavy on the word particular, because no two Ruger 45 Colt revolver Blackhawks are going to be identical, and they're going to be close, but you get to customize your ammo for your firearm. And when you buy factory ammo, that's all set at factory, within Sammy's range of specs, so it will work in everybody's gun, and you can do better by loading your own, even if you don't save any money. So there's that part of it. And you're not going to save much money hand loading 9mm unless you're casting, and you have a good to free source of lead. Then you can save quite a bit, and you can amortize the cost of your gear in relatively short order that way, because you're not having to purchase a projectile. If you get up into 38 special and 40 caliber rounds, the price of that stuff was brought up, goes way up, and now you're talking, for factory ammo, 50 cents a round, and using kind of the same parameters, a little bit more powder and a little bit more for a high-tech coated bullet. It's going to cost you maybe 2 bits to make a 38 Smith and 38 special or 40 Smith and Wesson bullet. So now you're saving a quarter a round. And if you go up to 44 mag and 44 or 45 Colt, those rounds are going to cost you at least $1 for factory ammo per round, and probably more than that. And you can make that round again with a cast coated bullet for probably 30 cents. So you're saving at least 70 cents a round. Well, so what does that work out to against your gear? Because I do count the gear. You gotta purchase the gear. If you're a beginning reloader, you got to count that in, I think. And I looked around, and I think everybody kind of gets the idea that there's a huge range of equipment out there, and there's just as huge a spread in the cost of new gear, and almost everybody will talk about getting a single stage or press of some sort to start with, but you don't absolutely have to. There's other choices. But I saw a couple of good kits. One in particular caught my eye, and I'm not a huge fan of buying a reloading kit, because typically there's stuff in there that you don't need, that I always get the feeling it's the manufacturer trying to get rid of junk that they can't sell any other way. But I looked over at Midway, and I don't know if anybody else has the same kit, but they had a kit from Lyman that was with their All-American 8. And it had a good night, Pat. He's probably down at the end of the row and got a loose signal down there. But anyway, that All-American 8's an 8-hole turret press, pretty nice press from what I hear. It had a digital powder dispenser. And calipers. It was almost a complete kit for $600. Well, and a tumbler, a case tumbler, and a couple other case tools and stuff. So it was a pretty complete kit. You could almost really get started with that particular kit. You could also assemble your own with other gear for about $600. And that may not sound like a whole lot, and it's not if you're a competitor and you need a progressive press. It may be a little bit more than that. But even at saving a dime a round on a 9mm setup, counting the cost of dies and everything, you should be able to get in there for $600, maybe $700. It's saving a dime a round against $600. That's going to be 6,000 rounds you got to load before you've amortized the cost of that gear. That's quite a bit. If you're a weekend shooter and you're going out to the local gun club and shooting 100 rounds, it's going to take you a long time to recover that cost, and it's probably not worth it at all for you to even think about it. But when you start getting up to 38 and 40 cal, that 2 bits a round that you're saving, now you're down to only having to load and shoot a few over 2,000 rounds to amortize that original cost of $600 or $700. Okay, maybe 2,500 rounds something. That's not out of the question for somebody who shoots, once a week or even a couple times a month. Just a few short years, and you've recovered that cost, and that gear can last you forever. Now you move up to 44 special, 44 mag, 45 Colt, and start saving 70 cents a round. Now all of a sudden you're only talking about 800 or 900 rounds required for you to reload to cover the initial cost of that gear, and after that it's free, so to speak. It's not free, but you don't have to worry about recovering the cost of that gear. But by then you're going to want another press anyway. So, and that's a thing that we kind of alluded to. You can save some money reloading, but that's not really why any of us are really doing it, I don't think, unless you're the competitor, like Gene or like Chris from the 740 or like the 6-shooter Texan or like Jamie's going to be, where you're really cranking out a lot of rounds. You've got to reload. You just can't afford to do it with factory ammo, I don't think. But even a guy like me, I go out once a week and shoot 150 rounds. I don't really save a whole lot of money, but I do get to shoot a lot more than if I was buying all that stuff as factory rounds, for sure. If I was paying $1 a round every time I went out and shot 100 rounds of 45 Colt, I couldn't do it. Not on my retirement anyway. So yeah, you can save some money doing it. But I think the best part is that we custom make our ammo for our firearms, and this all comes with a couple caveats. We assume you can get brass for next to nothing or free. It assumes that you've got a place to actually do this. You've got some bench space someplace, and you've got to assume that you've got the time to do it. But there are a lot of reasons to reload, and you can do it. You can make it affordable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Even with 9mm, you can make it affordable. And you got to understand that even if you went out and bought a kit, that won't be your last equipment purchase. It just never works out that way. It's like shooting a gun. You buy one gun and you want another one, or you need more magazines, or you need a dot, or you need, whatever. It's just, people refer to it as a rabbit hole, and it kind of is. If you want to cast bullets, we've talked about that, but there's some overhead in that too. About the cheapest you can get started in casting bullets is $200 with a Lee pot and a couple of Lee 2-cavity molds and a thermometer. Not
That's
counting
pretty minimal though.
Yeah, it's not too bad, and it doesn't take long if you've got a free source of alloy. Like range scrap or clip-on wheel weights, which we can cast a lot of our handgun and some rifle bullets just with that, and not adding anything else at all to it. If you can come up with clip-on lead wheel weights and a $100 Lee pot, like I said, you get a couple of 2-cavity Lee molds, you're off and rolling. And now you're saving that 8, 9, 10, 20 cents over purchasing cast bullets. And plus it's fun. A little bit of a learning curve, but it's fun.
I mean, I love reloading, but the casting part has been by far the more enjoyable.
Oh yeah, well, it's a real craft. It's an art form, I think, and so is reloading. Really, it's there's skill involved and so forth. So that's where the hobby part of it comes into play, I think. So I'd be willing to bet that if you poll everybody who is a reloader, 90% would lean more towards the hobby end of it than the money saving part of it, and the other 10% are the competitors who, they're enjoying it as well, but they have to get in there and reload, and they got to sit down and load thousands of rounds at a time, and that would not be me. But anyway, that's my 2 cents worth per round savings worth.
And I want to address something you said there briefly, and I know Hillbilly's wanting to say something, but it's going to take you a lot less time to recoup that money you spend on casting equipment than it is the reloading equipment.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yep, by far. Like I said, $200 and you're in. Yeah, you can get going with that and go forever with that Lee pot. I've got 2 of them. I got some more expensive pots too, but that Lee pot works just fine. And I would say most guys start with that.
Yeah, I ought to kick. I mean, it's probably been 12 years ago. We had a neighbor down the road pass away, and we went in and cleaned up a bunch of stuff for his wife, and tried like some of the scrap stuff we'd haul off and then give her the money, stuff she's wanting to get rid of that like none of the kids wanted or anything. And this guy had these thin sheets of lead, and of course they were heavy, and we were like, what are we going to do with these? I like called 5 or 6 people or however people, and I'm like, do you need lead for anything? Like, no, and stuff. And like, is it bars? I'm like, no, it's not bars. It's literally thin sheets of like 4x4 lead. And we ended up just hauling it to the scrap recycle yard or whatever. But they didn't give her hardly nothing for it, And it's like, man, I wish I would have saved that. But I agree. My biggest deal about wanting also to learn reloading, like I said earlier, like there's times I would pay money for time because it just don't seem to be enough in a 7-day week. For me personally, I got 7 grandkids. We do a lot of family stuff. I mean, got YouTube, just life going on, and I'm enjoying it. And so I don't have the time. That's my biggest issue. But I want to learn how, and I want the stuff because like Walter was saying a while ago, sometimes like the price, like there's sometimes come hunting season, you cannot find any 30-30 shells anywhere. I mean, we are home of Bass Pro, and you can't even find any at Bass Pro. I mean, Bass Pro headquarters is here where it started, and you can't even find any there. So those situations where they're not available would be a great time. And then also precision shooting, as far as hunting and all that, I know it's way better. People talk about going out, long distance shooting, gazelles or whatever, whatever the case might be. And, you can only shoot those distance with precision, reloading, stuff. They're the only thing that's going to group that far more than likely. But I think a lot of people don't understand. I see a really big savings in shotgun slugs. You're going to pay $2 to $5 or $6 a shell if you are in a state with a straight wall jacket, state, and a lot of people hunt with shotguns, particularly slugs, 50, 100 yards, deer hunting. I see you could really save yourself quite a bit of money, I would think, by casting your slug and reloading your 12 gauge or 20 gauge, whatever the case might be. I think that would be a lot of savings on that department.
Yeah. And not only that, as you were saying, you don't have a whole lot of time at this stage of your life to do it. And there's got to be scores of people, out there that are in the same boat. That just is not the time now. But put that next to what we're saying about the cost of this equipment. It's going to keep going up. So there's nothing that really can't keep you from, when you find a good deal on a piece of gear, or if you're not sure if it's a good deal, ask somebody and put it on the shelf and stash it, because you know what, even if you decide 15 years from now that you're not going to use it, that stuff's going to be worth twice what you paid for it today, because it's off the shelf price is going to be going up. And the
you
same
can
thing,
somebody really good with that. That's wanting to get started,
Oh yeah,
that's something else. I mean,
and we're going to be facing a powder shortage now. I told the guys earlier I picked up an 8-pound keg of Unique yesterday because it was on the shelf at a local shop, and I said, "Hey, how many more of those do you have?" He said, "None. I just got this one in like the day before." I said, "Well, it's gone now." I grabbed it,
Hey,
and it was like
Bubba.
$40 a pound for that stuff. But I use a lot of Unique though too, so I was down to like 6 or 7 pounds. When I get that low, I consider myself out of Unique. So
Okay, quit talking about Bubba. He just got in the side chat.
hey, Bubba.
If Bubba is going to be available on Friday nights, we'll start sending him a link.
Yeah, I think his
We
work.
could dangle some milk duds over here. He'd probably jump right on board.
Okay, it's we're past due time for our verse of the week. So can I get into that real quick?
Get it.
Let's go.
Walter's ready. So we've been going through the Sermon on the Mount. We've been all the way through chapter 5, and we're almost through chapter 6 now. And we're up to verse 24. Last week we talked about the lamp of the body is the eye, the darkness that's inside a person when that eye is dark, when your eye is dark. So tonight we'll start with verse 24. And this is coming to a great climax, folks. I hope y'all bear with us till a couple of 3 more weeks, and we're going to get to the big verse of the whole Sermon on the Mount. And I can't wait. I'm so excited to share this with y'all. Verse 24 says, "No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Therefore, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body or what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing?" And then it goes into some great metaphors about the birds and this, that, and the other. Okay, so I have not shown the verse. You cannot serve 2 masters. The idea here is the slave master relationship, where the master technically the the slave is the master's property. So you cannot be a slave of 2 masters. Uh, what Jesus is talking about here, you will either love one and hate the other, or else you'll be loyal to one and despise the other. So when 2 masters call you, you cannot answer both fully to the full extent that that master expects you to serve him, because technically he owns you. And that's how we are when we give our lives to the Lord. Uh, whether you want to realize it or not, we're all God's property. So, you either serve him and love him, or you're going to be uh, serving yourself, which becomes an idol. And the term here is mammon, uh, what we associate with money. But the idea there is not technically cash money, it's more of a materialistic lifestyle and outlook on life, is what I think. And then we get to verse 25. "Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor your body, about your body, what you put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing?" So that's kind of obvious. Uh, you know, we're either going to get tangled up in the things of the world, and we're not. You know,
Mm-hmm.
What we got to remember is like I've been saying this whole series, is it's about your heart. Um, There's a commentator named Bruce who says you can be as unfaithful to God through care as well as through covetousness. So you could not care about God. Um, these things, another way of looking at it is what will you do to entertain yourself? Are you worried more about entertaining yourself, or are you more concerned about what the Lord would be having you to do? And when we see that phrase there, do not worry, you got to understand again, a matter of the heart. There's big difference between a godly sense of responsibility and an ungodly, untrusting worry. However, an ungodly, untrusting sense of worry does usually masquerade itself as you being a responsible person. I like what Charles Spurgeon wrote in one of his sermons on this. It says, "You cannot say that Jesus Christ ever troubled his head about what he should eat or what he should drink. His meat and his drink consisted in doing his Father's will." Amen. We are to be concerned with the right things, the ultimate issues of life. And we then leave the management and the worry over material things to our Heavenly Father.
I think most humans inherently believe that life is more important than physical things and gaining stuff. When I almost hate to put it in this light, but we've certainly had our share of natural disasters and tornadoes and hurricanes and earthquakes and so forth in this country, and the news media is always right there, and there's always folks that are standing there looking at their home and all the possessions that were in it, just literally destroyed. But what do we always hear from those folks? Invariably, at least what I hear is, that was just stuff. It's all replaceable.
Material thing.
We're here with our lives and our families, and that's what's important. And that's kind of why I said that I think people inherently feel that way, but sometimes it takes a pretty good jab in the ribs to wake folks up and say, you know what, all of this stuff that you're collecting is just going to collect dust, probably. It's not worth it. That's not why we're here. And the sooner you figure that out, the better. And I think that's part of what's in these couple verses. Hey, he's saying, just think about it. Don't worry about those clothes that you got on and your what are you going to have for dinner or any of that other kind of stuff. That's not important. What's important, as Jamie said, is what's in your heart. And isn't your life the most important thing? And not only that, but what is it that makes that life important? So
Yeah. And as a person that I think about the age of 10 or 11, our house caught on fire, and pretty much the only thing we owned was clothes we had on our back, and some stuff my dad did save, and the gun cabinet and stuff like that was some of the stuff he's tossed out the windows, and photo albums, stuff like that. But yeah, it really makes like your opinion on stuff, material things, a little different in a way.
Mm-hmm.
All there one day and all gone the next day, including the roof over your head. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, one of the verses that popped into my mind was the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. of course, we know what the lust of the flesh is, and the lust of the eye is obviously seeing things that you want that you can't have, and you want things, and that's
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
pride of life is having those things to show them off to those people who don't have them. And,
Right. Your body is more than the clothes you hang off of it. That's not what makes your person any more than the flesh of your bones is not really your life. That your life is something entirely different than the flesh of your bones, and the clothes, and your body's more than the clothes that are hanging off of it. And that's a kind of a big step for some folks, and it was including me, to kind of get next to that idea that there's more to life than what meets the eye, I guess is another way of saying it.
Well, grandmothers are always, I mean, wise. And since you're on this verse, and this is always something that pops in my head. As it reads on there, the birds of the air, and stuff, they do not worry where their meal's coming from, and all that. And if you think about it, you look at a bird outside, um, you know, they evidently will have food and water, pretty much, unless there's some type of you know, whatever drought or something that happens. But one thing my grandma had told, I've heard her say many times, said, "Well, yeah, but you don't see those." She would say that is true, but those birds ain't just sitting in their nest waiting for somebody to bring them worms, right?
right.
And she goes,
Back
those
to
birds are out flying around every day. They're getting worms. God's providing for them, but He's not dropping worms into their nest for them. And so I think that's what she was basically talking about, being lazy, and
yeah, like that godly responsibility.
yeah.
That's later in the Bible, Paul writes that if a man don't work, he shouldn't eat. And I was driving down the road today, and uh, the thought popped into my mind. I was listening to that show on radio that used to be Rush Limbaugh. What is that? Mark and Buck? I can't remember the name. Buck and somebody. Anyway, they were talking about liberals and stuff, and I'm like, we got liberals that work where I do, and they say, "Oh, all you conservatives, all you want to do is cling to your Bible and your guns." And I'm thinking, well, I'm sitting here, the picture of that, and I thought to my mind, and I know it was the Lord talking to me. He said, "Yeah, but if somebody pulls a gun on them, the first thing they're going to say is, 'Oh God, I wish I had a gun.'" It's like I don't need either. The liberals are all like, "Well, I don't need a Bible and I don't need a gun." But you let somebody attack them, and the first thing they're going to think is, "Oh God, I wish I had a gun." And that's probably bad of me to say, but it's like you hear there ain't no atheist in a foxhole. And, there's very few atheists in a tree stand deer hunting too. Because I'm telling you, you sit there and you watch God wake up His creation every morning. It's hard not to believe that if you think about it, man, it takes a lot more faith to be an atheist than it does to be a Christian or a believer. And
Yeah. And I think it's it's sad, but being humans, if you just like hear stories or maybe look in your own neighborhood or hear stories of others, there could be 20, 30 houses or whatever in a neighborhood. People that somebody shooting off some fireworks at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night because it's somebody's birthday once a year or whatever. It's a tradition they do. Most people sit back and smile. Well, it must be so and so's birthday, this time of year. You got people that like just throw a fit. I can't believe they're shooting off fireworks. This needs to stop. I mean, it's all in how we look at life and, and people around us. And, that goes right back up into, like you say, politics or, people, it's against firearms or, however, I mean, it even goes all the way down to the little smallest scale, somebody's grass is 6 inches long. My goodness, I cannot believe they don't get out there and cut their grass. Then you got the people in the neighborhood that looks over and says, their grass is 6 inches long. Either they're not feeling good or their motor's tore up. I'm going to go cut it for them, and there's different people, and I'm sorry, Jim, I got way off your verse there. I apologize.
Oh man, you're good. I want to talk to Tim Mess right here for a second. It's hard to carry a police officer in your pocket, and I know he's talking about that comment I made about this, that, or the other. The thing is that we saw during COVID magnified. A police officer's job, they used to have printed on the side of their car to protect and to serve. But what we saw in COVID is the new attitude of the policemen. Their job's not so much to protect anymore. I mean, if they see a crime happening, yeah, it's their duty to try to stop it and apprehend the suspects or the perpetrators or whatever you want to call them. But their job seems more to be to, after the thing is over with, to get the mess cleaned up and try to apprehend and prosecute the perpetrators. In other
Just
words,
make a report.
yeah. Well, their job is to clean up the mess, not so much to keep you from getting killed while your home is being invaded by a bunch of drug addicts. But anyway, there I go saying.
Yeah, well, their hands are tied a lot of times too.
Yeah.
We all know really good people that are police officers, and there's, believe it or not, depending on their department, their county, their state, whatever, sometimes their hands are tied.
Yeah, Ozzy says he carries a gun because the cop's too heavy. Not just that, they pull your pants down, man.
Might be enough to scare the crooks off. I don't know.
There's G23. Good to see him out there. We've been missing him.
Hey, Dan.
Howdy, Dan.
Cool. All right, we need to start getting through the room, and there's not as many as there usually is tonight. But we'll still let Mr. American Hillbilly Up go first, because we know somebody's got to go over there and keep Gizzard Gary straight.
Gizzard Gary is in Texas along with a lot of the people at NRAM this weekend. And so there will be no foul territory following up this. But G-Webs, he was out there on my side chat. I don't know if he's still out there. I told everybody to come over here, but I assume G-Webs will have his regular scheduled show at midnight. Wait. Yeah. Wait, hang on a second. Let me count this up so I don't get it wrong. 11 o'clock Central, the 2A weekly wrap up. So G-Webs will have his 2A weekly wrap up, I assume, tonight as scheduled. But yeah, there will be no foul territory. Several people are at NRAM, and I believe it's in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I'm not exactly for sure, but yeah, man, thank you so much for having me on here. Always a great fun time. Awesome way to start out my weekend. I love it, each and every week. Always awesome side chat out there. And I actually I've been posting videos just about every day, roughly. I had a video post earlier today on a really cool deal. Since I'll show it. It is not a firearm or nothing. But if you've seen the video, our buddy Hasbro 3D printed this for me. And so I did a little short on it, and then I did kind of like a regular video on it today. And I'm super tickled about this. This was so neat and so nice of him to do. But yeah, I also have we got Guns, Beer, and Therapy coming tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. And so if you guys ain't done nothing, swing by and see us there. We just try to have a good time. And we a lot of times we accomplish that, I think, hopefully. And I want to thank you again for having me on. I love being on here with y'all. You know, I have no knowledge, none whatsoever, towards reloading or any of that stuff. But anyway, I do appreciate y'all very much. And thank you.
Well, Bill, we're trying to expand past just reloading and casting. We're trying to be more of a gun community type chat. And
well, if anybody wants to know about shooting hard seltzers, I can throw in. So I can give you the cost breakdown, the whole 9 yards.
That's great, man. Mark Thomas, what you got coming up this week?
Well, we'll see. I've been trying to get those 2 shotguns down to the range for 3 weeks now, and haven't had any luck. But I haven't had any good weather to do it or any time to do it. So we'll see what comes. Got that new muzzleloader. Hopefully we'll get that down to the range and maybe put a few through that. I guess I didn't mention another purchase I got this week for being outdoors, and I'm hoping to use this thing a lot this summer. I found a real nice Grumman aluminum canoe for $120. couldn't beat it. I had to bring it home. So we're hoping to do a little bit of floating and fishing out of that.
Cool.
We got the end of school year coming up here, graduation. My son's got his transfer from middle school to high school next week. We're looking forward to that. Just bought him a new suit for that, and he's looking sharp. So lots of things coming up. I don't know what I'll be able to make videos of or post, but just looking forward to this school year wrapping up and summer coming. So thanks for having me. Been great to be here. Been trying to keep up with the side chat. Been rolling right along. And well, hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope everybody has a great week ahead, and can't wait to see you next weekend.
Okay. So can I ask you something real quick, Mark? Do you do much floating on the creeks?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A quick deal. Oh man, we've floated and fished. It's one big deal, canoe floating on the creeks and rivers. We found out this works really well. The old window weights, it's about, foot long or whatever. Take one of those, go to O'Reilly's, wherever, and buy you the can of rubber dip that you dip your pliers in for the handles or whatever.
Yep.
Coat that thing with rubber dip, tie it behind your canoe. It'll drag along and keep you straight, but it will not get hung up, and on stuff. And so that's one of the things that my grandpa started doing years ago, and it's just so fun. Especially if you're floating and fishing, not wanting the wind or something to kind of turn you sideways or something, and always a fun deal. So
yep. Well, what about Walter?
Well, yeah, what about that guy anyway? What the heck is he even doing here? Thanks so much for the invitation to participate, Jamie. I always appreciate that email that gets sent out and says, hey, come on aboard. And it's always a big deal for me to get in here and talk not only with you guys, but, over here in the side chat, all our family that's there with us every Friday night. It's it's a big piece of my week. It's an important thing for me, so I appreciate being here. As far as what we got going on, had a Free the Few video. That's a Rumble series that I'm doing. That went out today. I'm kind of behind on videos. I've got to get with the program. We got 3 or 4 projects sitting on the bench outside right now, just waiting for me to get after them. I'm going to start doing some more casting videos. I think the next casting series that I'm going to do is going to be just with my Hensley and Gibbs molds, and bring them out one by one, talk about them, cast them up, and go shoot them out of something. But by its nature, will probably have to be mostly on Rumble. I can't get away with casting on YouTube, but I can talk about them, I think. And so we'll see. I got to think about that. So that's going to be coming up. I got that new Ruger RPR in 22 mag. I'm going to get that out and shoot it. Maybe at least one more. I shot it yesterday and it shot okay. It didn't shoot great. It took 30 rounds for that barrel to get cootied up and hot enough to shoot at all. And then at 50 yards, it was giving me 3/4 inch groups. So, not superior, but I think it'll do better. So I want to get it out to 100 and see what it does there before I come back and talk about it on video. But we'll be doing a video on that one in the next couple weeks. It's a fun rifle. And I put that cheapy Monstrum scope on it that CW was talking about here a couple of weeks ago, and you know what? That's a pretty good scope for $50. I was impressed, and I went back to get another one because I wanted to put one on my 1022, and they're sold out. Well, I just said out of stock. I don't know if they're going to not do it again, but anyway, so I'll have something coming up with that rifle before too much longer. So that's what I'm up to. See you all here tomorrow night on Hillbilly Ups live chat. I hope you guys can all make that over there. That's the comic relief of the shooting, reloading, and casting and everything else that we hardly don't talk about any of that stuff over there. Just a bunch of fun people. So, all right, Jamie, back up to you, man.
It is a fun time. I hope you all join us tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. There's Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog coming in here just in time to tell us good night.
Hey, buddy.
So, what was I doing? I was telling everybody. I want to thank you guys on the panel for being here. We miss CW and some couple of other usual suspects, but all you guys on the side chat were here, and we're awful thankful for you. And I just can't express enough how much we appreciate y'all coming to hang out with us. We had over 60 again tonight, and y'all just make y'all humble us, actually. And right before I say good night,
Hello,
Hey, C-Dub.
I got no lights here. I'm in the back seat.
No, okay. You on your way home?
On your way home, just got in the truck.
All right.
so
Did you
you
win the
want to
big door prize?
Nope, I didn't win anything.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me say good night. And apparently Rigby turned on something else because my little radar thing my Wi-Fi is going low. So let me tell y'all that we love y'all, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. We hope the Lord blesses y'all real good. And if He's willing, we'll see y'all next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night.